What is up, bros? Welcome to... Oh, I messed up the intro.
You already... God damn it.
I'm Caleb.
You got the script right in
I
front
know,
of your
shut
damn
up.
face.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm the one that doesn't mess up, Jonathan.
Screw you. We'll see how you do with this Reading with Rose segment, asshole.
Bet. I'll bet you I get 100%.
We are a couple of bros on a mission to give you guys the most detailed movie reviews out there with as little bias as possible. Welcome to the All Bros. This week
Beautiful.
on the podcast in 4K Spotlight, we have one movie that's getting released, and that's it. Nothing too newsworthy this week, or at least nothing that caught our attention. So we'll be discussing that 4K release and then get straight into this week's headliner, where we will be breaking down Netflix's original Matilda the Musical. So with that, let's say we get into this.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, I'm Crash, host of the podcast Crash and Taz's Movie Cellar. On our show, me and my co-host pick a new movie each week and rate each movie on a few categories that we think are important to making a great movie. After we rate the movie, it gets a final rating, and that lands it somewhere on our Cellar scale, where it will get labeled as either a well, premium, or a top shelf film. Catch us on platforms like Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, and more. And don't forget to follow us on social media. On Instagram as Crash and Taz's Movie Cellar. It's Crash, the letter N, Taz Movie Cellar, with underscores in between each word. And on Facebook, Crash and Taz Movie Cellar, where you as a listener can suggest movies for us to rate, and also give us some constructive criticism to make the show more entertaining. Overall, don't forget to follow or subscribe, and rate and review us, and get ready for an entertaining show with us. See you guys then.
My constructive criticism would be release an episode once in a while. Vic.
Damn.
You've been properly roasted. It's been a while. I think it's been a while since we've done his promo.
I think it has. Honestly, I thought you took it out just because he doesn't post new episodes.
Yeah. But I stopped, like, I didn't stop. Like, it just left my mind for a little while to, like, do his, but then we talked on Saturday or Sunday, and yeah, just kind of like sparked that in my my brain, and I was like, oh, haven't done your promo in a while. So just doing it for good time's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting into 4K Spotlight this week, we have one new release that Rose is going to tell us all about.
Yeah, and I will say that it's freaking bullshit that Universal isn't releasing this on 4K. It's just being released on Blu-ray. But Violent Night is coming out. If you guys want to hear our thoughts on that, go check out our episode, which was... How long ago was that?
It was a few weeks ago.
Okay.
It's not that far back, though.
Okay. But yeah. So Violent Night comes out. Apparently, I don't know what it is with Walmart, but they are like sucking with like putting out Universal movies early, because they did the same thing with this movie that they did with Halloween Ends. They put like I saw a TikTok of a guy's just like, oh yeah, out like 2 weeks early grabbing it. I'm just like, there's no freaking way that actually scans in the register, but no, lo and behold, it does. Like,
Is that what happened with this one?
Yeah, same shit.
What the what the hell?
I don't know what's happening with Walmart and doing this with Universal titles, because I've only seen it with Halloween Ends and Violent Night, both Universal titles, so I don't get it.
It's either Walmart or Universal needs to get their shit together.
Yeah, seriously though. But oh well. I don't know what else to say besides that. I mean, I'm not gonna pick this up like release week. I mean, I'm not gonna be in Utah when this comes out, and be kind of weird to pick it up in a not saying it'd be weird to pick it up in another state, but I don't know if I can really like fit it in my backpack to get. I really don't know where I'm going with this, but I guess that was
You can always
just a
pick
fun...
it up here, I guess, if you really want it that bad.
No, I'll wait till it goes on sale. But I guess like this is like a fun prelude into next week, because it will actually be a in-person recording session for me and Caleb. So that's gonna be fun.
Hell yes, that's gonna be dope.
Yeah. That was a dumb prelude into that, but you know what? Whatever. We're gonna stick to it. So, yeah, Violent Night. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely recommend you guys check it out, and you can buy it on Blu-ray this Tuesday.
Yeah. So actually, when this episode releases, you'll actually be on your way here.
Yeah.
That's gonna be sick. I'm freaking pumped, dude.
Me too.
So yeah.
Dude, it's incredible, like how just like different. Oh my god, why am I effing up so much this episode? Like when like looking back at like, you know, like the flights and times, and like how much of a delay, not delay, but what is it called when like you land in one state in order to be put onto another plane so you can actually go to the destination that you're going to?
Oh, like a layover?
Layover, thank you, that's the word. It's amazing like looking at what the layovers are for like certain flights, because like I think like the flight there, it's like altogether 6 hours, but then freaking like other ones that I saw that were around like the same time were like upwards of like 10 hours. I'm like, the hell? That's one hell. Screw that layover.
Dude, layovers are a bitch.
They are.
Or they can be.
Yeah, like goddamn.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Well, cool. Then I guess with that we can jump straight into this week's breakdown, which is going to be. This is one I'm actually like really excited to talk about.
I'm very excited for this because
it's not very often that these come around, at least for us. I mean, because we watch a bunch of movies on our own, like not for the show, and we typically have very similar opinions on a movie. And I can tell when that, like, I knew you were going to love this movie. Like, I can always tell when you're going to enjoy a movie. Like, I feel like I can pick those out, like, really, really good, where I'm like, oh yeah, this is, like, I don't like this movie, but Rose would love it. And I'm not saying I didn't like this movie. I actually, like, enjoyed this movie. But not as much as Rose, and I feel like I'm going to have some harsher opinions on it than he does. So this is going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get straight into this freaking breakdown. Alright, like I said, we will be breaking down Netflix's original Matilda the Musical. So, if you are new to our breakdown system, we have split movies into 8 different categories that we individually score to come to a final All Bros letter grade. The 8 categories that we score are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we give it our own personal score at the very end. All of those numbers get magically added up and spit through our algorithm and give us a letter grade to compare this movie to others of a similar grade. It also gives us a percentage, so we have like an official like ranking, but that doesn't really matter as much as the overall score. The ranking is more for us than anything.
True.
Yeah. So, with that, if you have not seen Matilda the Musical, if you've seen the first Matilda, you're probably going to have a decent idea of what happens in this one.
They
Or
do-
if you've read the book too.
See, I don't think I ever read the book, so I don't know which one is more I mean, I know the book's not a musical, but I don't know which one is more faithful to the book.
I feel like this one would be more faithful. Because it
Yeah,
it did have that like fairy tale book feel to it.
Yeah, and the original is definitely more based in reality.
Yeah. So I think this is like I said, I haven't read the book either. But I jumped on Wikipedia real quick and read the synopsis for the book, and
So
it did
I
seem
have
to
wonder. Sorry.
no, what were you saying?
So in the book, does she have a brother or no?
That's what Brielle was trying to figure out. So in the original, she had a brother.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you for the life of me if she had a brother in the book.
Shit, because that was like bugging me. Because when the movie first started, I'm like, wait, she doesn't have a brother in this version? I mean, as the movie went on, I didn't care, but that kind of like threw me through a loop. I'm like, whoa, it's only her. Okay.
Okay. I'm looking it up. Oh, she does. Matilda does have a brother in the book. However, he's Matilda's older brother.
Okay, so just like the original.
Yeah. So I guess if you're going for how faithful, it seems like the 1996 version might be a little bit more faithful.
I wonder why then when they wrote the musical, they decided to just make her an only child.
Probably easier to write.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, because I don't really know where you would put her brother into the musical version of it. All right, I can accept it. Like I said, it took me it took me back a little bit at first, but then like once I got used to it, didn't change at all how I felt about the movie.
Yeah, I mean it's a minor gripe. We're not going to dock it any for not including a character because I think with the story that they were telling, especially the opening where the Matilda's mother was just like, "Oh great, I'm pregnant."
Yeah.
Like having such that like disdain towards kids, it would make sense that she would only have one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like we said, it tracks. Real quick though, I almost forgot. We did have a kind of a response.
Kind of.
So, we posted a question of the week. We asked what other children's movies would make for good musicals. We didn't get an answer to that, but we did get a response to that video.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does.
So this response is from Jason Lampro, who you guys would know if you've listened to our previous episodes. He does the Mixed Media Forest podcast. So if you've heard that promo before, but he just made a more of a response towards this movie.
Oh, okay.
And so he said that he really he enjoyed the movie, but he felt like some of the songs were being played in fast forward, not enough time to process each joke. Which I absolutely agree.
I would disagree, but I guess agree to disagree.
This is going to be an interesting episode.
This really is.
Oh,
okay.
So anyway, thank you, Jason, for answering our question of the week. If you want to answer our question of the week, be sure to be following us on Instagram and TikTok. Those are the two places that you can respond.
Okay. So, the plot of Matilda the Musical. Here we go.
Yeah, spoilers past this point.
Yes. In a hospital, while other parents adore their newborn children, Mrs. Wormwood is distraught to learn she is pregnant and in labor. To her husband, Mr. Wormwood's confusion, she gives birth to a girl, Matilda. Despite her parents' constant disdain, Matilda becomes a sweet child who loves reading and visits the librarian, Miss Phelps, daily. Upon discovering that Matilda has not been properly schooled, teacher Miss Jennifer Honey and an inspector visit the house to suggest Matilda be sent to Cruncham Hall. Angry at the fine, Mr. Wormwood warns the severe headmistress, Miss Agatha Trunchbull, about Matilda. Matilda retaliates and tricks him into dyeing his hair green. I wouldn't say trick, like, she just...
It was more of a prank.
Yeah, she doesn't trick him into it. It's just, yeah, okay, whatever. On her way to school, Matilda tells Mrs. Phelps her story about an escapologist who falls in love with and marries an acrobat. Arriving at school, Matilda and fellow new student Lavender are warned about the terrible way students are treated there. In class, Matilda solves a complex math equation on the board and confesses that she loves reading most. Honey asks Trunchbull to move Matilda to a more advanced class, but Trunchbull refuses to let Matilda be an exception to the rules. At home, when Matilda criticizes her father, he rips her library book apart and sends her to her room, so she glues his hat to his head. The next day, Matilda leads the students in protecting classmate Nigel from wrongful punishment, but Trunchbull instead aims her anger towards Amanda Thripp, a pigtailed girl, and throws her over the fence. Okay, with this, can we at least agree that that scene is so much more worse in this version than it is in the original?
I will give you that.
Okay.
I will absolutely give you that.
I was like, God damn.
And this is going to tie into effects. It looked really freaking good.
Because, like, in the original, like, she looks, like, not too stiff, but, like, you can definitely tell, like, the way that they filmed it, she's really not moving that much. In this one, oh my God, she was like a freaking rag doll. When she just, oh my God, it was, I had my mouth freaking open during this scene. Like, jeez Louise.
I would be genuinely shocked if they did that 100% CGI.
I would too.
Like, I obviously they're not going to use a real kid. Like, that just kind of goes without saying. What I'm pretty sure they did, and I would love to see if this is true, because the motion, it did feel very ragdoll, so I'm wondering if they did use a dummy and then just kind of CGI'd like the flesh tones. Because you can like dress the dummy up like that little girl. Like, easy. That's cake.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's the part I'm like, because that looked way too freaking real for it to be 100% fake.
Yeah, dude, seriously though. Like, straight up. Looks so freaking good. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was, oh man.
The way that Trunchbull reacts, she's like, yeah, that's far. I'm like, jeez Louise, lady.
Yeah, and then she's just like, oh yeah, go check if the kid's still alive. I freaking like lost it. I will say the different punishments were, kind of went back and forth on how I felt about the punishments. Which one I preferred.
Yeah.
With the 1996 movie and then this one. The tossing the pigtail girl, this one wins by a freaking mile.
Which is probably as far as she went.
Yeah, the cake eating one, I'd have to give that to the original.
I'm still in between on that one.
I think it just had something to do with the music. It was just, I don't think they sold how, like, just wrecked this kid was after it. And it's just, that was my only issue. It's just that they didn't sell me on, like, the weight of that as much as they did in the 1996 version, where it just felt like you were freaking full. Like, watching him, you're just, like, you're about to be sick to your stomach. I didn't quite feel that way with this one. And then what was the other? The ear stretching was weird.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm very interested which did you feel which Chokey was worse, the 1996 version or this one?
Ooh. I'd have to get... Hold on. I want to pull up the original first, just so I have like a clear...
I don't know, for me, I'm actually honestly leaning more towards the 96 because this one, I don't even think we really got to, until like, and this is kind of getting ahead, until like the Trunchbull like showcases like how she's been busy and she has all of these chokies made. We never actually, at least from what I remember, got to see until Matilda blows it up the inside of the original chokey.
No, we see the original. They have a GIF of it, the original.
They do.
For some reason, I felt like that chokey was mobile. Or I thought it was.
Like in the original?
Yeah.
No, wasn't it? I thought, because it wasn't in like the actual Trunchbull's office. Like it wasn't like out in the woods, like in.
No, it was like in one of the towers of the school. It looks like.
Oh yeah, it was.
But you do see the inside of it. It's just like a big wooden door with these giant freaking nails.
For some reason, that I don't know. I feel like that one was done better. It was more intimidating than.
I will give you that for sure.
I mean, though, when she showcases like how she's been busy with like, there's like a chokey for every single kid. I was like, okay, Jesus, lady.
Yeah, that was freaking nuts.
Yeah.
Really like that. But yeah, in terms of like the original chokey, I would give that to the original or the 1996 film as well.
Yeah. Okay. So during the students' lunch, Trunchbull falsely accuses Matilda of stealing a slice of her private chocolate cake, but Bruce Bogtrotter accidentally reveals his involvement. Okay. I have to point out because I watched this with Christina and freaking I hate that she pointed this out. The fact that when like the whole like gas bubble or whatever is like floating over and it like pops on the Trunchbull and you see her freaking like just like tasting, she's like the way that Christina reacts, she's like, the fuck, she's literally tasting a fart, not a fart bubble, but like a burp bubble. She's like getting turned on by that shit.
Yeah, it was a bit much. Like that was very weird to watch.
Just the way she's, oh my god, yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah. I don't know what else to say to that, but yeah, just the reaction that Christina had. The fact she said, I think she got turned on by that. I'm like, okay, thank you for putting that into my head. But anyway, so yeah, Bruce Bogtrotter accidentally reveals his involvement. She forces him to eat the entire cake, saying he will be forgiven if he manages it. Bruce's success thrills Matilda, Honey, and the students, but infuriates Trunchbull, and she condemns him to the chokey regardless. Matilda unsuccessfully attempts to defend Bruce, and after school, the children deliberate on their potential adulthoods. Matilda returns to Mrs. Phelps and continues her story. The now pregnant acrobat is forced to perform a dangerous stunt by her stepsister. She is horribly injured and dies after giving birth to a daughter. The escapologist forgives the stepsister and asks her to help him raise his daughter. The stepsister blames the daughter for her stepsister's death and secretly terrorizes her. At home, Mr. Wormwood locks Matilda in her room for criticizing his dishonest business practices. She ends her story. When the escapologist discovers his daughter is mistreated, he never returns from confronting the stepsister. The next day, Trunchbull forces the children through challenging exercises to crush their rebelliousness. Lavender slips her pet newt, Isaac, into her drinking water, and Matilda furiously uses her newly discovered telekinesis. Oh my god. Alright. I said I was going to get an A. I'm like B- at best. Her newly discovered telekinesis to embarrass Trunchbull. Honey invites Matilda to her cottage, where Matilda learns that the escapologist and the acrobat were Honey's parents, and the stepsister is Trunchbull. Despite Honey's warnings against getting in Trunchbull's way, Matilda uses her powers to destroy the Chokey. At home, Matilda discovers that her father cheated the Mafia and the family must flee to Spain. Dismayed, Matilda cries in her room about never seeing her friends again. When the children return to school, Trunchbull forces them to spell words correctly or to be locked in a new Chokey. She has Lavender spell a made-up word, tricking the other children into rebelliously spelling words incorrectly on purpose so that she can lock them all into Chokeys. Matilda uses her telekinesis to pretend to be the vengeful ghost of Honey's father, destroying the Chokeys and throwing Trunchbull out of the school. Honey tells her never to return and takes back the keys to her father's house. After Trunchbull runs away, the students openly revolt and destroy Trunchbull's statue. Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood come to take Matilda to Spain, but Honey pleads with them to let Matilda stay with her. They reluctantly agree to let her adopt Matilda, who uses her powers to unglue her father's hat. I will say the original does this scene better, just because they actually sign adoption papers, whereas in this one they're just like, okay, well you can just stay with her. That's cool. And just okay.
That's something I had a hard time with, like accepting, but it was just there was also a little bit of like, okay, you gotta think musical, fair.
Yeah, I will say that I like in this they kind of like swapped the parents' reaction in these two versions, because in the first one, the original, it's definitely, I feel like the mother who like has an intimate moment with Matilda, saying, you're the only daughter I ever had, yada yada yada. Whereas in this one, the mother kind of like she's sad. Well, actually, was she even sad to
Probably
see
not.
Matilda? Yeah, I didn't see, but she actually does. You can tell have an intimate moment with her father. He actually asks, well, do you want to stay here with her? Like he actually wants to get her opinion, and just I don't know. I like that it flipped in this one. Instead of the mother, it was the father this time.
Yeah, I like that too. It did feel too. What I think they did very well, that they Matilda wasn't like. She was like, she was enthusiastic about the adoption discussion.
Yeah.
But there was like some hesitation in her voice about it, or maybe like a sadness, like a bittersweet, like, okay, like freaking finally someone that actually like enjoys me. Like likes having me around.
Exactly. So she uses her powers to unglue her father's hat. With Honey as the new headmistress, Crunchum Hall is renamed the Big Friendly School. They couldn't have come up with a better name.
Yeah, that
so
needed
boring.
Something else.
Crunchum Hall sounds so, even though it's a horrible school, it sounds so much cooler than that. And the students
should have renamed it like after her parents or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
not Matilda's, Miss Honey's.
Yeah. Like something that has escapologist in it.
I wouldn't even go that far. Like I'd say
really?
Like if their last name was Honey, like just something like a honey pun.
The honey pot? Maybe that's a little too much.
I don't know, like a beehive school, honeycomb.
There you go.
Like Honeycomb Academy.
I like that. Okay. I like that. So the students help build a new playground. Mrs. Phelps is overjoyed that Matilda's true story has a happy ending and that she and Honey live happily together. The end.
Good ending.
Yeah.
Like really, really solid ending. Maybe a tad abrupt.
That's fair.
But nothing too bad. Like if I was going to dock for that, it'd be maybe a point. Maybe not even a full point. It'd be like half a point. But just kind of getting into the whole story. I don't know about you. I felt like this kind of had a bit of a slow start. and then gained a really solid momentum, but it started off kind of slow for me.
I can agree with that. I will admit, for some reason, I was kind of like taken back by, because I'd never seen like anything of Matilda the Musical, like no musical numbers, anything. So like, I don't know, the opening number like took me a little back, like just of how like they played it out. I mean, it was awesome, it was great, but I don't know, comparing like the opening to, and I'm trying not to compare this to the original just because they are so different, with this being a musical and that just being, you know, like a take on the book. But I feel that one, like, you just automatically jump right into Matilda's story, whereas with this one, like, I don't know, like, you're like, you have like all these other kids and everything, and I'm just like, I'm not saying I'm a horrible person and don't care about these other kids, but like, can we just get to Matilda's story?
Yeah. So that musical number, like I said, kind of an issue. Felt like a really long song. Kind of felt like a longer song, and I'm just whatever about it. So I felt like that really slowed the pacing down. But like once it got past that and skipped to like Matilda, it was really good.
Okay.
Um,
So I think we can both actually agree with that.
and then the other song that I like found myself not giving a shit about was the kids reflecting on what they wanted to be when they grew up.
I actually started tearing up a little bit during that song.
Name the purpose of that song. That didn't advance the plot whatsoever.
I feel that it's like them just being like, okay, you know what? I'm just done with being a kid because, you know, I'm getting treated like shit at my school. I'm assuming that their parents just won't listen to them when they tell them what's happening at school. They're just like, it's a kid's imagination. And so they're just like, okay, well then, does it really even get any better for me as a kid? I just want to be a grown up already.
It felt like a time waster.
I disagree. I don't know. For me, it's just a really good song.
The way that I viewed this is if you didn't have those two musical numbers, that takes away from the time of the quote-unquote play a decent amount.
It's like instead of being 2 hours, it'd be like an hour 45.
Yeah, and I feel like Broadway plays have a time limit or a minimum time, just so it's like worth paying however much you pay for a Broadway ticket.
Like almost $100 dollars.
Is it only $100?
I don't know.
I feel like it'd be more depending on the play.
Yeah, probably Lion King's like upwards of like $500, maybe more.
All right, I'm gonna see just for like shits and giggles what. Okay, I'll look up Phantom of the Opera. Oh, that's not horrible.
How much?
It's $109.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, I was expecting like
Damn.
$250.
Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. I feel though, like, if you like take a trip to New York and you want to see a show on Broadway, you have to be very selective because I don't know, that's a lot of money to put into seeing a musical.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, and that's like on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prices aren't bad. Like, okay, so Phantom of the Opera starting at 109, Hamilton 123, Wicked 111, Lion King's 147.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that tracks. Everything else is like in the 60s, 70s.
Really?
There's one in like the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is in the 80s.
I straight up forgot that was a musical.
Yeah. shit, that's not horrible.
No, it's not.
Maybe I'll have to look into like a Broadway show. Anyway, getting back into Matilda. So it does feel like there's a time limit because like most of those plays that I saw are about 2.5 hours.
I feel when a lot of musicals are adapted to movies, it's very rare that you'll find one under 2 hours. Like usually 2 hours is like the gold standard. So I'm pretty sure The Prom was even 2 hours, or at least damn near close.
Pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, you're looking at
2 hours 10 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, like, cause yeah, I know Hairspray was. Well, actually, I'm curious.
Yeah, and okay, and then those songs were definitely fillers then, because this movie was an hour 57, so it was just shy of 2 hours. So you take out the maybe 10 minutes per song, like you're down to an hour 40, or you're down to like an hour 30, hour and a half. Like you're down there. So that tracks.
I can't take out any of the songs in this movie. And
you could have easily taken out a couple of songs.
In my opinion, no. And they didn't even put all of the songs from the original production. I think there's like
that makes sense.
I think there's like 2 that weren't in it. So
I'd believe that. But yeah, anyway. So those were like the only 2 things that I felt really slowed down the pacing. Everything else was paced pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
There were some things, and this is just going back to the comment from Jason. Yeah, it kind of felt a little rushed at times, and it was mostly because of the song. Like, the song made the scene feel like it was going a little faster than it was. Like, there was, like, a rushed feel to it. Which wasn't, like, too distracting. It was a little bit, like it was almost anxious to get to the end of the song or end of the scene.
I think it kind of worked for it, though. Like, I feel like the school song, for, like, how fast, like, the prefects, like, talked, it made sense why they were, like, just, like, pushing them through the school, just trying to introduce them to the surroundings as fast as they could.
Yeah, there was a sense of urgency.
I feel like I'm starting to see where you guys are coming from. Maybe it's just me. Like, do you feel that was kind of the case with the song "Revolting Children"? Like,
a little bit,
was the revolting a little too fast?
It was really fast. I'm so glad that I had the subtitles on. Otherwise, I would have missed everything.
Dude, yeah. Like, so there's one line in it that that is like completely different than the musical. I think, like, where Bruce says, now that we know who we are, we'll actually start revolting, or some shit like that. Like, in the musical, it's like a completely different line. I'm forgetting it, but for the longest time, like, what the hell is he saying? Like, it's saying I'm hearing one thing, but the lyrics are telling me something different. And then I finally looked at the lyric video for this version. I'm like, okay, he is saying that. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Like I said, everything's really decently paced. The story is great.
Yeah.
Like,
it's freaking Matilda. Who doesn't love this story?
Yeah. It's hard to be harsh on just this overall story.
Yeah.
But my issues, and what I'm mostly docking for, is pacing issues.
That's fair.
Still, I'm still fairly high with that. I'm probably around 88.
It's actually higher than I thought you were going to be. That's awesome. I think I'm just gonna go a little bit upwards to a 90.
Fair. I get it. All right, next up we got writing.
I feel that this was really I don't know, I feel this was really solid. And I feel like a lot of I'm sure like some people, when it comes to like especially the Wormwoods, will say, oh, like the parents in the original are, you know, well written. They're not as like over the top as they are in this one. Like in this one they're too much. But I feel you got to remember that this is based off a musical, and in musicals you kind of have to be to get a point across. So when it comes to like a lot of the writing for like characters, comparing them to the original to this one, I absolutely loved it. It makes complete sense why either they had to be, you know, like more of an asshole in a way, just because you have to, in a musical it's a lot harder in some ways to get that across, instead of like just like a movie like the original. Yes, this is a movie, but I'm sure that they wanted to stick close to the musical as much as they could. And I've actually heard that this is like one of the best Broadway to screen adaptations that people have ever seen. Like, it doesn't lose any magic from the Broadway version.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I would absolutely believe that. Yeah, I mean, dialogue wise, it wasn't horrible. It was. I think it was pretty consistent. With everything that they had going on, like there wasn't anything that felt weird. Other than, and I think anything that did feel weird, it was mostly because it was a child actor trying to say whatever was needed to be said. Which we'll get into. That was nothing that had to do with the actress who played Matilda. Like, she was perfect.
She was freaking phenomenal. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about her.
Freaking though, like with writing, I'm gonna like put this with like the lyrics of a song I love in the school song, that like after like every section of like them explaining, the little girl that played Lavender would just chime in with "Why?" It was freaking adorable. It was so cute.
Yeah. But it was really smartly written. Like, a lot of things were really well done.
Did you feel like when it comes to like the writing of like how they explain Cruncham Hall, and just how, honestly, like how all like the kids that are already there talk about it and everything, do you feel like it was more terrifying in this one than the original, or what do you think?
I feel the original felt gross, where this one felt run down.
Okay.
Like,
Fair enough.
there was like there was an unsanitary feel to the 1996 version. This version feels like it is very clean. It's just all of it's, like I said, very run down.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Like, it kind of, at least for me, it had that militaristic feel.
It did.
Where
really
it's like everything's sanitary and everything. It's just not nice to look at.
I don't know. Did you see what those lunch ladies were cooking up?
Yeah, that was freaking rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, it worked. I felt it worked.
No, I agree.
I'm trying to think of any like major dialogue issues, which I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I can't either. Like, all the dialogue made sense. Nothing fell out of the blue. Just very,
what are you
very
thinking?
well written. I'm actually higher than my story. I'm at a 90. I'm going to go 1 point higher, 91.
I'm probably going to go do the same thing as you and just go like 1 higher. Because it was pretty on par. I think any issues that I had were with over-the-top dialogue, which you can't get too upset about. Because based off a musical. So I'm going to give it an 89. Alright, next up we got acting. So we have Alicia Weir, who plays... Huh?
I think that's how you pronounce her last name.
Okay, yeah. Alicia Weir, who plays Matilda Wormwood. We have Emma Thompson, who plays Agatha Trunchbull. Lashana Lynch, who plays Miss Honey. Stephen Graham, who plays Mr. Wormwood. And Andrea Riseborough, who plays Mrs. Wormwood. And then anyone else that you feel... Maybe Mrs. Phelps?
Yeah, I don't know, for me, well, yeah, I guess Mrs. Phelps, yeah. There were just, like, some certain child actors that really stuck out to me, but not really to, like, bring them up in, like, the main cast, I guess.
Yeah. So Mrs. Phelps was played by Sindhu V.
Loved her.
Alright, so what does your top 3 look like?
Okay. Sorry, I gotta pull up this cast because I want to make sure that I get all these right. Let's hope that the little girl is listed. Sorry, 1 second. She's not listed. That sucks. So number 3, I would give to, I'm gonna butcher this name. Ray, I'm assuming that's how you say her name. Ray Yamayuchi Folker? I apologize because I'm sure I effed that up, but she played Lavender, and I freaking loved her every single time she was on screen. She was just freaking adorable. Like I said, with the whole, like, how she kept chiming in during the school song, the why, it was so adorable. And just, I don't know, I loved her and the actress that played Matilda's dynamic. Like, I felt like they were actually, like, friends by the end of this movie. And I loved the idea that it's both her and Matilda that start off the same day. Like, they're the new students, whereas in the original, like, Lavender was already there. She was already an established student. I loved her performance. She was so great. I honestly hope to see her in more. So that's my number 3. Number 2, I gotta give to Emma Thompson, who played Agatha Trunchbull. She was amazing, so intimidating. I absolutely freaking loved her. Like, oh my god, she was incredible. I think I actually might have liked her a little more than the original actress.
That is a bold statement.
I know it is.
That is a very bold statement.
I know it is, but I absolutely loved her in this role so much. Like, I don't have nothing else to say besides just how incredible she was. She was so brutal, and I loved it, and just incredible performance. Okay, actually, can I change my ranking a little bit? You cool with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm going to actually knock the actress that played Lavender to number 4 because I actually forgot about someone. And don't get me wrong, she's still amazing. But number 3, actually, I would give to Stephen Graham, who played Mr. Wormwood.
Fair.
I don't know how I forgot about his performance. Just thought about it. Yeah. Incredible. He was such an asshole, and I loved every minute of it. He was so great. Played it so well. And then number one, I'm sure this comes as no surprise to you, Alicia Weir. I don't know how you say it. Anyway, Matilda, oh my god. Like, breakout performance. I really hope she gets so much more work after this because freaking incredible. Like, she nailed every part about this character, from the sweetness to just I don't know, just everything about Matilda. She absolutely nailed. I don't have anything bad to say about her. She was perfectly cast.
I absolutely agree with you. But my top 3 looks different from yours.
Okay, I love it when that happens.
So my number 3, I'm going to give to Lashana Lynch, and it is mostly because I'm just so impressed with her range. She is just mind-blowingly amazing at everything. Like, if she was the one actually singing, dude, like, there's nothing she can't do. She has done action. She has done freaking, like, musicals. She's done freaking, like, superhero role. Like, there's nothing she can't do. And she's just incredible. So you recognize her, right?
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
Yeah. She also had a role in Woman King, and she was just phenomenal in that role. And so, like, seeing her in this, where she has to be a little softer and not as demanding in her presence, she does so freaking well. Like, it just blew my mind. And then on top of that, if she's actually the one singing, she's an incredible singer.
I'm pretty sure she is. Like, from like when it lists like who's singing on Spotify, I'm pretty sure it's her.
That it wouldn't surprise me. She is just so freaking talented, and I love her. So yeah, she's my number 3. My number 2, I'm going to give to Alicia Weir, but it is close.
Yeah. Okay.
It is a literal coin flip. What I have to say about the original Matilda. So Mara Wilson is the one that plays Matilda. For whatever reason, I feel like that Matilda was very soft-spoken, very shy, and just didn't speak all that much.
That's fair.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's just not what I would expect from Matilda. What I imagine her or Matilda to be, at least based off what I've seen from the book. Like I said, I haven't read the book, but I've seen like little snippets of it. What I've seen of the book, she is a very outspoken child. And so seeing her as someone that's a little soft-spoken is a little meh. But Alicia has such demanding presence when she's on screen. It is phenomenal to watch.
It really is.
Like, you can say a lot about her performance. Soft-spoken is not one of them.
True that.
She was amazing from the freaking get-go. So I freaking loved her. But I have to give my number 1 spot to Emma Thompson. She is like you, she is my favorite Trench Bowl adaptation.
Okay, so you like her better than the original too? Okay.
Emma Thompson is an absolute gem.
She really is. I love her so much.
There is nothing she can't do except act bad.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal. I love her so much. Oh my gosh. Like, she's done it all. She has literally done it all. Like, she's played majestic roles where she has to play like high royalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has played romantic roles where she was like in Love Actually. She's played comedic roles where she's been like in the that movie Late Night.
Oh yeah.
Like, she's done, like I said, she's done comedic. She has done stuff where she had to be like super chameleon. Like, I'm thinking like Nanny McPhee.
Yeah.
Like, chameleon, unrecognizable. At least at the beginning of that movie.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable. This is one of those things that's also very borderline unrecognizable.
Seriously. Like, kudos to the makeup department, because goddamn.
Dude, I will be giving some major props in the costume department.
Yes, I love it.
But it's just, she is a flawless actress. There's nothing I hate about Emma Thompson. She's just wonderful to watch. Yeah. And her performance as freaking Trunchbull, just perfection. Pure perfection.
Yep.
And I cannot wait to watch her interviews discussing this role. So, yeah, that's what my top 3 looks like.
I love it.
All right, what are you giving acting?
I'm not going to lie, I am super high with this just because even like all the child actors I feel were fantastic. Like, especially the like the whole core, because I'm gonna even include like a little bit of like the how they acted like in like some of the numbers. These kids have more talent than I ever had at this age. Like, goddamn. Like, holy shit. Yeah, like the whole cast is fantastic. I love them all. I don't have any, like, not even any of the kids brought it down for me. Like, all of them did a great job. So I'm even higher than writing. I'm gonna go a 93.
I am gonna say I'm not quite that high.
Okay.
If it were the main cast alone, that's a definite maybe. I may even be higher than you if it was just the main cast. What I'm docking for is a lot of the child interactions that were had. I feel like her interaction with some of her schoolmates was a little child actor-y, which isn't bad. It's just there's a level of inexperience there in normal dialogue that feels off.
Okay.
But that's not a big issue whatsoever for me.
Okay.
So with that, I am going to be at like a 90.
Okay. No, I completely get that.
Yeah, but it is really freaking good. So no issues. At least with everything else. Like, the main cast are, like I said, phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got character development, which obviously we do this off of Matilda's story.
which I feel is really freaking solid.
It's not bad. Like, her characterization, she kind of stays the same.
Okay, fair
like,
enough.
kind of has that sweetness, the innocence, love of books and learning. Like, nothing too off the walls there.
Yeah.
But the way that she's able to push herself into different situations was really well done.
It was.
Like, I felt, how do I want to word this? I felt like even though her character, like I said, her characterization didn't go too many places, the character herself did. And I think the way that she was able to interpret the world around her and the things that were happening with this story that she was quote unquote making up, it was interesting. Like, had I not seen the first Matilda and kind of knowing what was going on, I probably would have fallen for the whole, like, oh, she's just making this story up thing, not having that moment of realization that it was Miss Honey and her, like, her story.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I think they did a good job adapting what was happening within her real life to, like, this fantasy world, so you could, like, make those obvious connections to people. So I thought that was really well crafted. And I think the way that she was able to team up with her classmates was really well done as well, from someone that wasn't looked on with too much favor, to someone that was viewed as the hero of the school.
Yeah, because she told the Trunchbull no.
Yeah.
Freaking when Lavender approaches her about that, and she's like, "Hey, old friend, starting a rebellion and everything," and like the one girl gives her, was it like a breakfast sandwich, and Lavender is just like what is it, like eggs and bacon? Like, seriously? I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. So, what are you sitting with character development? I don't have too much else to say about it.
I don't even, like, honestly, you've hit the nail on the head with that. I don't really even have anything to add to yours. I don't know. I will say it's probably like the lowest of my scores so far. It's still a really good character development. So I'll go an 89.
Yeah, this is probably where I'm the lowest as well. I'm sitting at an 85 with this one.
You know what? Actually, I am gonna actually go a little lower. I'm going 87 because no, you got a point.
All right, next up we got effects. So there were a decent amount of special effects done in this movie. I will say this, there was some green screen on this, like some very obvious green screen that did not look great.
Fair.
But that was... This one's tough to do, because there was some stuff that looked really good and some stuff that didn't.
There's one that I gotta know your opinion on. Could you tell that the kid that played Bruce Bogtrotter was wearing a fat suit?
It was so freaking obvious that he was wearing a fat suit. It was ridiculous.
I don't even know if it was even a fat suit. Like, hell, if you told me, oh, they just stuffed a pillow under his shirt, I would have believed you.
That's what it looked like. I I was watching it and I was just like kind of looking at the kid and I'm like, you can tell when someone's actually fat because they wear it in their face a little bit.
Yeah, fair.
He had skinny face and like just fat gut and then skinny legs. And I'm like, that kid's not really fat.
What? See,
wait, what was that kid's name? Nigel?
Or no, Bruce.
Bruce?
Yeah.
I'm pulling up this kid's IMDb to see if he's fat or not.
Not ruined it for... No, he's not. Because... yeah, before I saw the movie, I saw like the behind the scenes of like comparing how it looked on screen with the revolting children. And yeah, you see in like the rehearsal that, yeah, the kid's like pretty skinny. Like, well, he's not like super skinny. But I'm just like, yeah, y'all put a freaking pillow under his shirt. Like, kid is not fat.
Yeah, freaking saw that.
And I'm not like saying like, like, oh, we should, just hire. I'm not like the kid did great. The kid did a great job as Bruce. I loved his performance, but like, has it been that hard to get like a kid that's just a little bigger, so you don't have to use a fat suit?
I will say this. The obvious giveaway was when he was dancing.
Yeah, you could you could totally tell like the kid was having like a hard time working with the fat suit.
It wasn't even that, for the dude. Kid. It was he was moving too energetically. I'm like, you're not moving like someone who's fat.
You'd be okay. You'd actually be surprised because I will fully admit, when I was a kid, I was the fat kid. Like that's how I was. You'd be amazed, especially because like if I'm thinking back to like my drama days, you'd be amazed of how like when they're like like if you're in like the move, you're like like really excited, like you have purpose. You can move almost just as fast as other kids. Like it's kind of okay.
I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that you couldn't keep up with the other kids.
Just fat shamed me.
No, listen. So. I'm not fat shaming you. Just listen to me.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not saying that you couldn't keep up like physically with the other kids.
Yeah.
What I am saying is that a fat kid's body moves differently than a not fat kid. You can keep up the same pace. I will 100% give you that. Equal movement, whatever. But there's going to be movement in places that are not in the skinny kid. And this kid wasn't jiggling right.
We're going to get canceled for fat shaming here.
We're not fat shaming.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Fat shaming would be straight up making fun of the kid for being fat. This kid wasn't fat. He was quote unquote supposed to be, but it's just he.
Oh shit!
He wasn't moving right, is what I'm getting at. His body wasn't doing the things that a fat kid's body should have been doing.
His stomach wasn't jiggling enough. Come on, guys.
Yeah, the truffle shuffle was not obvious.
Oh shit. Oh man.
Yeah, like I said, I know that I am a slow person. There's no way that I could keep up with someone dancing with that much energy behind them. No way in hell.
Maybe if I had my inhaler, but
yeah, like I know that there are heftier people that just cannot help their weight situation or whatever. That can't help that move with just elegance and just like a power behind them, which is awesome.
Yeah, kudos to you. I was not one of those kids.
Right. But what my whole point is there is movement on their body that is obvious. And I like
Oh, shit.
like you can tell when someone when someone's pretending to be fat versus someone that isn't. And this kid wasn't moving like a fat kid.
My question though is considering how much prosthetics that they put, makeup and stuff they had to do for Emma Thompson with Trunchbull. Because like you said, the actor that they picked to play Bruce, he did a great job. I love the kid. Did a great job. Couldn't they have taken some of those prosthetics and made him at least look a little bit more like a little bit of a chubbier kid?
I feel like the only thing they really added was just kind of a heftier chin.
Oh, they did?
Like a little bit. It was more of a rounded face. Kinda. It was barely. They dropped their whole budget on freaking Trunchbull.
Yeah. Which, that's okay, because she looked fantastic. But, yeah, and definitely them legs should not have been that skinny.
No,
speaking from experience of being a chubbier kid, your legs will never be thin. Sorry to say.
Yeah. But again, not the biggest issue. He
needed them thunder thighs. That's what the kid needed. He needed some thunder thighs.
Honestly, that was probably more of a costume complaint than anything. But
all right, fair. All right. Well, at least we've talked about it now.
Yeah.
Now we can just put it into costumes.
Yeah. So, effects wise, I think there was a lot of the telekinesis stuff that looked very CGI. The hat looked good for a minute until it started zooming off far away.
I will definitely agree with you on that one. Yeah, that was a little off for me too.
Trying to think of some other special.
What
effects.
did you think? With the kids song with the "When I Grow Up," with them, being the one kid that's on the motorcycle, and then the two kids that are in the jet planes. What'd you think of the effects when it came to that?
That actually didn't look bad to me.
I agree.
I think I'm able to let go of poor CGI in those instances where it's an obvious dream effect.
It's a child's imagination, so of course it's not going to be perfect, and that's kind of what you want.
Yeah, it's I'm more forgiving of scenes like that.
Same here. Yeah.
Where it's just that okay, the CGI wasn't the best objectively, but it worked better.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
I don't know how else to describe that. It's just it was consistent CGI throughout. All the CGI was the same, on the same level. It's just that scene seemed to work a little bit better than everything else.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, effects, I'm pretty decent on effects. It's probably my second lowest, though. Maybe. Actually, no. I think I'm going to put it on the same level as story. I think I'm sitting at Actually, I lied again. I'm going to put it at an 87.
No, I'll match you on that.
Alright, here's where our discussion is going to get interesting.
Yeah. So I'll start at a 10, and I'll work my way down.
That's how I like to start with music. I always try to say, okay, everything is at a 10, and it just, anytime I hear music, it's it either stays or drops.
Yeah. Because I will admit there are some, there's some tracks that are not as stuck in my head as some others, but I feel overall, God, this is a freaking toe-tapping soundtrack to me. Especially, I'm gonna tell you right now, my top 5 songs or top 3 songs on Spotify for the end of this year are going to come from this musical, because I cannot stop listening to Revolting Children, the school song, and the naughty song. Those have been on repeat for a freaking week. Revolting Children even before I even saw this movie. Just because of like seeing all the like advertisements and everything. I'm like, okay, I finally want to actually listen to the whole song, and god damn, it is so good.
This was a really good soundtrack. My only complaint with it, again, going back to Jason Lampro's comment, it did feel very fast. It's the same issue I have with rap. If I can't like sit there and read what the rap is, or like the lyrics, I do not understand for the life of me. I have to like be sitting there and like actively reading along. And so that was the issue I had with this. Like if I did not have the subtitles on, I would have been extremely lost.
I know I did have to like go back a couple times, especially with the Revolting Children song, and make sure that I'm hearing the words right. But I don't know, there were some songs that, especially with Revolting Children, like I was okay that it was moving so fast. Like it kind of made sense. Like yeah, the revolting went by very quickly. But I don't know, the way that the song was set up, it worked for me. I was okay that it was like so up tempo and it was going so fast. Kind of the same thing with the school song, but at least with the school song, there were moments where it took moments to breathe, and then it just started back up again.
Yeah, not very many moments.
That's true. It's mostly just, like I've said before, Lavender just chiming in with why whenever they would finish explaining, like, oh, you know, like this is what's going to happen. This is why physical education is the Trunchbull speciality, all that fun stuff. But I don't know. I enjoyed almost every single song. Like literally, I can't get this damn soundtrack out of my freaking head.
It's a good soundtrack. I'm not going to argue with you on that. This is honest. I feel like you're sitting at a 10.
I'm more so because there are a couple songs that I'm just like, I don't really see myself revisiting, like on Spotify and everything. So I'm actually more so leaning towards a 9.
That's actually where I'm at.
Perfect.
I would not go lower than a 9 with at least with a musical of this quality.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a really solid soundtrack. It's just the pacing is what jacked it up for me. So all right, sitting at a 9 for that. Moving on over to costumes, I'm about the same.
I can absolutely give you that.
I feel like the uniforms for the school were pretty good. And I just want to compare real quick. All right, kind of comparing the art to the Matilda book. I will say that I do feel like this movie is more faithful. Because at least on the cover, Matilda is sitting on a big pile of books. She has long brown hair, and she's wearing like a blue dress. So I do feel like there were some artistic liberties taken with the school uniforms.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. And yeah, so I mean, no complaints when it comes to Matilda's look. And again, no real complaints when it comes to all the other kids. The other kids were wearing uniforms. It was...
Yeah.
It fit. Trunchbull was the standout.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And she looked incredible. Very, like, militaristic feel. She had, like, some big-ass freaking boots, dude. And that's coming from
serious.
me.
The fact that she also wore that, like, kind of, I don't know what you call it, where, like, you can automatically just go right onto the PA system. I freaking loved that touch. And then I love
so good.
that at the end, it's Bruce that picks that up, and that's how we lead into the Revolting Children song.
Yeah, very, very good decisions all around from the costume department.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, really, really dug at all their decisions there. So, like you sitting at a 9, costumes-wise. And that is probably solely because of Trunchbull.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, last up, we got our own personal score. So I'll let you take this one first.
Okay.
Since you liked it better.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, Caleb knows this, and I'm sure a lot of you listeners do, if you've listened to our show for a while. I'm a sucker for a good musical. With being in musical theater in junior high and high school, I freaking love this kind of shit. So I absolutely love this movie. I had a blast from start to finish. I do have some problems with it, but they're few and far between. The cast is great. The songs are great. Just everything is so freaking good, and I just had a freaking blast. So for me, I'm going to go a 92.
I'm a bit harsher on musicals, and it's not... I don't consider myself a musical fan, but when I do watch them, I am 9 times out of 10 impressed with what I see. And this was like no exception. I really liked this adaptation. I didn't know how I felt. Like, actually, I went into this not expecting a whole lot because, again, like I said, I don't consider myself a fan of musicals, and I know Matilda wasn't a musical. So, or I thought, like, I didn't realize they made like a Broadway show until we started recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I just thought that this was like a random out of the blue musical.
Oh no.
And so that's how I came into this movie. I was just like, okay, they just made a musical based off of Matilda. Not sure how well this is going to work, but it actually ended up working pretty well. So I was very surprised. It's good, family friendly, fun for the most part. But yeah, I really dug it. Not quite as high as you though. I will say I think I'm like 85 range.
Completely fair. Completely understandable.
So, yeah. Well, with that concludes this week's breakdown and the final All Bros going through our each category score first. I can't forget that. Starting off with story, we started off out of the gate sitting at a very strong 89. The writing scored a little bit higher, just barely, sitting at a strong 90. Acting went up just a hair from there, sitting at a 91.5. Character development dropped down significantly, at least from acting. And it ended up being our lowest category, sitting at an 86. Effects jumped up a little bit to an 87. Music, costumes, both sitting at a very strong 9. And then our personal score averaged out to an 88.5. So with that, the final All Bros letter grade for Matilda has come to a B+.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and it is sitting at a very sturdy 89%.
Ooh, yes, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, let me see real quick. Alrighty, so Matilda the Musical, like we said, sitting at an 89%, puts it on the exact same level as the Mitchells versus the Machines.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, right? I freaking love that. Like, personally, I enjoyed Mitchells versus the Machines a little bit better, but quality of movie, I will absolutely agree they're on the same page. All right. So with that 89, it is sitting below Spider-Man Far From Home with our new updated score. It is below Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which is at an 89.25.
All right.
It is below Knives Out, which is at an 89.31. It is below Black Panther, which is at an 89.34. And then, finally, it is below our original Spider-Man Far From Home score.
That's funny.
Which was at an 89.35.
All right.
Going the opposite direction, it is sitting above the Unicorn Store, which is at an 88.87.
All right.
It's above Luca, which is at an 88.62.
Okay.
It's above Top Gun Maverick, which is at an 88.62.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can agree with that.
And then it is above Halloween 2018, which is also at an 88.62.
Understandable.
And then last, it is above Bros, which is at an 88.56.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Be bros.
Yeah, right?
Damn. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I would have seen this before we did our top 10, it was top 10 we did, right? Or was it top 5?
Top 10.
Yeah. This either would have beat Bros or would have come in at number 2.
That's
Like,
fair.
If I'm being, yeah, if I'm
Did
being
this come
honest
out
here.
2022? Like, is this technically 2022?
Yeah, it dropped on Netflix Christmas Day.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where Matilda the Musical's sitting. And I
Very
think it has a
nice.
very decent home.
Absolutely agree. Are
All
you
right,
okay?
well, unless you have anything else to say about Matilda.
No, I've got nothing.
All right, well, that will conclude this week's breakdown. If you like this episode, want to check out more of our stuff, be sure to follow and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We are basically everywhere. We are also on all social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Hell, I think we're on LinkedIn. You can find us at the All Bros. Be sure to hit us up if you have a suggestion for a recommendation that we'll make on TikTok, because we've been absolutely killing it on that.
Yeah.
At least by like our standards. But if you want to answer our question of the weeks that we post, or want to join us for an episode, we actually had one person reach out to join us on the episode, so we'll see if that happens. Maybe next week, maybe a future episode. We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah. Next week, you guys can look forward to us breaking down the film Megan. So that should be a really fun one to discuss. We're going to go see it together next week, and that will be an absolute blast.
Yes, it will.
So with that, I guess we will catch you guys next week. Deuces.
Bye.